Tuesday of the 34th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the book of Revelation. I, John, looked, and there was a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud, one who looked like a son of man, with a gold crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. Another angel came out of the temple, crying out in a loud voice to the one sitting on the cloud, "Use your sickle and reap the harvest, for the time to reap has come, because the earth's harvest is fully ripe." So the one who was sitting on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth, and the earth was harvested. Then another angel came out of the temple in heaven, who also had a sharp sickle. Then another angel came from the altar, who was in charge of the fire, and cried out in a loud voice to the one who had the sharp sickle, "Use your sharp sickle and cut the clusters from the earth's vines, for its grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle over the earth and cut the earth's vintage. He threw it into the great wine press of God's fury. The word of the Lord.
Responsorio Psalm. The response is, "The Lord comes to judge the earth." Say among the nations, "The Lord is king. He has made the world firm, not to be moved. He governs the peoples with equity. The Lord comes to judge the earth." Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Let the sea and what fills it resound. Let the plains be joyful and all that is in them. Then shall all the trees of the forest exult. The Lord comes to judge the earth. Before the Lord, for he comes to rule the earth. He shall rule the world with justice and the peoples with his constancy. The Lord comes to judge the earth.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." They asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you are not deceived. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and the time has come. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, but it will not immediately be the end." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place, and awesome sights and mighty signs will come from the sky." The Gospel of the Lord.
November 27th, Tuesday of the 34th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verses 14 to 19. In this passage we hear about an angel who has a sharp sickle in his hand, who goes out and gathers in the harvest. Those who have done good things will be rewarded. Those who have done evil will have to live in the evil that they've chosen. It's not that God wants to send anyone to hell. We make that choice ourselves by the bad deeds that we do. Because every time we choose selfishness, every time we reject God's love, we are choosing a foretaste of hell. Hell is, in fact, eternal loneliness that we've chosen for ourselves. The Gospel is from Luke 21, 5 to 11. Jesus speaks about the destruction of the temple, and his disciples ask, "When will this happen?" And Jesus gives an ambiguous answer, that there'll be wars and insurrections and earthquake and famines and plagues and awesome signs in the sky. But he doesn't really give a sense of exactly when it would happen. Every time there's a natural disaster, every time there's a war, every time there's an economic crisis or a moral crisis, people predict the end of the world. We should be very careful about that because many of these signs are a bit ambiguous, Earthquakes happen all the time. Stars falling from the sky are called meteors, etc. These things happen all the time. When should we be ready for the end of the world? All the time. Because we never know when it's going to happen. So it's good to be ready no matter when. Whether it be the end of the world, the entire world, or the end of the world for us individually. And may God bless us.